Okay, I think time for us to start. Om. वागर्ताविव सम्पृक्तौ वागर्तप्रतिपत्तये जगतः पितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ शारदा शारदाम्बोजवदना वदनाम्बुजे सर्वदा सर्वदास्माकं सन्निधिं क्रियात् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् नमः प्रणवार्ताय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानानन्दशलाकया चक्षुः उन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः भूकैलासे मनोज्ञे भुवनवनवृते नागतीर्थोपकण्ठे रत्नप्राकारमध्ये रविसदृशमहायोगपीठे निषन्नं संसारव्याधिवैद्यं सकलजननुतं सङ्गपद्मार्चिताङ्ग्रीं गोमत्यम्बासमेतं हरिहरवपुषं शङ्करेशं नमामि हरि ओम्. So we have seen 15 gurus so far. We started with the Panchabhutas, then Surya and Chandra, that made it 7. Then we saw the Pigeon, the Ajagara, Samudram, 7 plus 3, 10. Then we saw Patanga, Meena, Matanga, Kuranga. Deer is called Kuranga, Meena, those 5 of them. Bringa, Kuranga, Matanga, Patanga, Meena. So we saw those 5, so made it 15. We ended with the Meena yesterday. And as I was saying, and as Avadhuta is saying, if we know how to control our tongue, he says that is the most difficult of all the indriyas. Tongue is the most difficult. And if there is a way we can control the tongue, probably we will be really Jitendriya. Otherwise, we'll be an Ajitendriya. That's what the Avadhuta said. Otherwise, you become an Ajitendriya. You become a Jitendriya only when you are able to control our tongue. And that is why I was saying yesterday that there is a lot of care and thought about what you eat. What you eat, how you eat, when you eat, how much you eat, all of them are thought about very seriously. That is why in Bhagavad Gita, in the 17th chapter, Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga, that 17th chapter, Sri Krishna gives several examples of Sattva, Tamas and Rajas. So, amongst many things, he chose food also. One of them he talked about is sattvic food, rajasic food, and tamasic food. Okay. Anyway, he did not say carrot, radish like that. He did not say like that. He did not say these vegetables you take these like that. He did not say. But what he said was generally, if you eat very strong taste, kara jasti, okay. Sometimes we eat very strong taste. Very strong taste is indicative of rajasic food. That's what he says. But in the modern living, if you read that, if you read those shlokas, you will find in the modern living, 95% of us take tamasic food. Actually. You know why? Because he has given certain lakshanas of tamasic food. First thing is, he says, don't eat what you cook yesterday. So, I made 2 foreign trips. Shingeri Mata, they sent us Aham Brahmasmi Foundation. We went and did prachara. So before the trip, I said, I want to have a meeting with all the volunteers. We were staying in so many houses. They said, we'll arrange everything. No, I said, I want to talk. So they asked, they were all very reverential. I'm not saying anything. They were all, I think, very genuinely, had great shraddha with which they did a Atiti Satkara. To make absolutely things clear, they asked me, sir, what kind of food do you need? I said, any food but cook today. Because, in modern living, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they, put a label and then keep it. Krishna calls all of them as tamasic. Okay. Gata rasam. Uchishtam gata rasam. You should not take food which is half consumed and then now left hand, right hand, everything we use for eating. That's what many people do. All that acharas are all gone. So if you go by that, it's all tamasic food. There's a lot of emphasis on food. That's why for last 15 years, I can't lecture like this. I'm going to give one more idea about food. I can't say that and then eat whatever I want to eat. Then there's no meaning to what I say. That's why I stopped eating. I'm very conscious of where I eat. Bhava Purvaka, if they cook, I eat. Otherwise, I don't eat. I do only Swayampaka. And it so happened, moment I decided to do Swayampaka, my board meeting, everything, my travel increased. So Bhagavan is testing me. I said, okay, some resolve we have taken and then we will. That's why there is a lot of this Swayampaka also. You should control the kind of food you eat. Otherwise, Vyaktitva Vikasa will not happen. Sometimes the personality from a spiritual perspective can get destroyed. Instead of taking 2 steps forward, we may take 2 steps backward unwittingly. That can happen. So that's why there is a lot of this emphasis on food. In Chandogya Upanishad, there is a mantra. In one section of Chandogya Upanishad, there is a mantra about the water you take, the food you take. So the mantra says this. What it says is the food you take, okay, becomes 3 parts. Whatever food you take, the food you take becomes 3 parts. So the stula goes as fecal material, is disposed of, the stula part. Then there is this madhya, okay, that becomes your flesh. And there is a subtle part in the food. That subtle part becomes your mind. This is what Chandogya Upanishad says. It says, now what it means is, your mind is a function of what you eat. That is where the whole thing is coming. This whole achara with respect to eating is because our Shruti says, our Veda says that food becomes your mind. So if you eat all kind of food in all possible ways, that is what will eventually become your mind. So like that, it talks about water also. The stula part passes off as urine, the madhya part becomes the blood and other this thing, and the sukshma part becomes the prana. That's why if you don't drink water, you'll die. If you don't eat, you can manage, but you have to drink water. Water is very important. Such discussions are there. So that is a very important element of our achara vichara. Food we have to. So in a different way, Avadhuta is saying that if you don't control your food, you are not going to go anywhere. So many things we will do, but it will not help us in the spiritual progress. So for which he used the mina, fish. So I started this discussion by saying Indriya Nigraha. Finally, there are 5 Indriyas. The Avadhuta is actually bringing 5 Indriyas. And in every one of our tradition and our beginning of the spiritual journey, the emphasis is top of the list is Indriya Nigraha. That's why that Shat Sampat, Shama, Dama, all those are what? It is all Indriya Nigraha. Without Indriya Nigraha, we are not going to make a huge headway or progress in spiritual journey. So if you are very serious about self-evolution, somewhere we have to be conscious of Indriya Nigraha. So I jokingly say today, in our kind of living, we have 2 japamalas in our hand. One is called remote control of the TV, another is called mobile. You can keep doing both of them. This is the japamala we seem to have. Because there are about, I think about 700 channels are there, I think. So one full round you go over it, most of people, they do only that. Oh, this program, then they don't like it, they go here. I think that's what they do. So 1 hour is over. 1.5 hours is over. This is how they spend time. Or you can take a mobile and then there is this WhatsApp University. There are people who are very diligently mourning their huge postman. Everyone turned out to be a mega head post office. Because 1,000 nonsense messages come, they morning 7 to 8, put all of them on this side. And whatever comes from here, put it on this side. Keep on forwarding from here to here. Most of it is all nonsense actually. Most of it is not correct. What you get in WhatsApp is mostly not correct. But anyway, that is what we are doing. In other words, we have become passive. We have not become active in spending our time. If you switch on a TV and sit, you have become passive. You are feeding to the Indriyas very passively. Or if you sit with this mobile and spend so many hours, you become passive. We have to become active, not passive. The senses must be, we have to decide. Now we just surrender it and leave it. And then binge watching and all that kind of a thing. So in our sampradaya, there is a great deal of emphasis, so much discussion. Bhagavad Gita itself has a lot of discussion. So I'll take one famous shloka from chapter 2. I just want to show you. There are a pair of slokas, sloka 62 and 63 in chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, which very beautifully, in Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, there is one 52nd shloka. Okay? 53rd shloka. It says, Tita prajnasya ka bhasha. Who is this Tita prajna? Kim acharate, kim vrajayata kim. How does he walk? How does he talk? This is a kind of question Arjuna asked to Krishna. What is this Tita prajna? How does he behave? What does he do? Etc. So, shloka 54 to 72, the last 19 shlokas in chapter 2 explains so Krishna gives a reply. You find a lot of shlokas there in which the Indriya Nigraha issues are discussed in some detail. So, let me show you one shloka. Okay. He says, Sangha sanjayate kamaha, kamat krodho bijayate, krodhat bhavati sammohah, sammohat smriti bramshah, smriti bramshat buddhinashah, buddhinashat pranashyati. There's one shloka like that. I'll show you that shloka. Dhyayato vishayan pumsah. Many of the complications that we get into start with our attachment to Vishayas. You start thinking about it. It's, slowly, you start thinking about it. The next door neighbor bought a Tesla automatic. 2 days I look at it. So, Dhyana has started. Oh, this Tesla, I think I should buy. Okay, dhyayataha vishayan pumsaha. The more and more I see this Tesla going every day, sangasteshu upajayate. My indriya is more, hey, this looks good. So after a week, after a month, I say this Tesla is very good. I have no wherewithal to buy, by the by. Let me qualify it first. Tesla is 50 lakhs. I don't have 50 lakhs. But I think I get attracted by that. First I see it. The more and more I see it, it gets into my mind space. They use the word, no, mind space. It gets into my mind space. Sangas teshu upajayate. I get a little connected to it. Develop a sense of attachment. So A leads to B. This sloka, why I have put the sloka like this? And I have put an arrow also. A leads to B, B leads to C leads to D, D leads to E leads to F. This is how Krishna has written this sloka. It's all cause and effect. Okay? So, dhyayate vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu upajayate. He gets a little more attached. Why can't we think about what is the price of Tesla? Let me find out first. So, I just go and find out. Sangha sanjayate kamaha. The desire starts. No, I think I should get. Please understand, Kama and Krodha are two sides of the same coin. In fact, the fallout of Kama is Krodha and Bhaya. The Bhaya is, will I get it, will I get it, will I get it, or will I not get it? Because I am so tensed up now, I want it. Will I get the promotion? Will I get my salary increase? So that generates a certain sense of fear. If I don't get it, the fear transforms into anger. So the Bhaya and Krodha are the byproducts of Kama. That's why Krishna says, Kama yesha Krodha yesha rajoguna samudbhavaha. Mahashna mahapapma viddihi yena vairam yena. Understand, they are the biggest enemies in your life. They consume everything, including your personality. Every good thing of yours will be consumed. That's what he says in one of the shloka in chapter 3, 37 shloka, he says about it. Okay? So anyway, Sanka jayate kamaha. Then what happens? Kamat krodho bijayate. As I told you, Kama and Krodha are two sides of the same coin. If I don't get it, then I get mad. That's when I get mad. If I don't get it, I don't leave it. If I don't get it, if I leave it, that means I don't have Kama. If I don't get it and I get very angry and then I say, no, I'm not going to leave it, that means that is the Kama. So Sri Krishna says, Kamat krodho bijayate. Then what happened? Krodhat bhavati sammohaha. This is the breaking point. I will get it at any cost. I will not leave it. It gets intensified. This is when people start making mistake. Okay? Krodhat bhavati sammohaha. I'll get it somehow, hook or crook. I want it at any cost. So if I don't have money, I will indulge in some malpractices. I'll find out how to generate fast money because I need the Tesla at any cost because I'm so attracted by that. Okay? Krodhat bhavati sammohaha. Moment you reach that state, your buddhi will desert you. You will lose the sense of discrimination. Sammohat smriti vibhramaha. Your connectivity, you should remember the right things, what is the right thing to do, what is the wrong thing to do, all your memory will just ditch you. Your buddhi will ditch you, your memory will ditch you, everything will ditch you because you are now infatuated, you are very aggressive about it. So he says, Sammohat smriti vibhramaha, smriti bhramshat buddhi nasha. You don't use your buddhi. You completely lose your power of discrimination. Which means you are squarely in the act of committing a big mistake which will be caught later. Buddhi nashat pranashyati. The Vyakti completely gets destroyed. Now, this can happen for big things, small thing. It is not, Tesla simply took an example so that we can, relate to it. We have to understand the point. The point is all that starts with Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha Sangasteshu Upajayate. That is where it starts. So this connection, how does it happen? Through the Indriyas. This is why Indriya Nigraha is important. Otherwise, we may reach a stage where we may lose control completely. There's no point regretting much later. Small, big, that's not the point. So that is what Sri Krishna says. if you analyze your own, some of the major blunders we have had in our own personal life, this framework will tell why it did. We deeply analyze this is what would have happened. Somewhere we lost the connection and then walked into a trap which we set ourselves. That's what it is. No, any activity, this is a framework to convert every activity into adharmic. This is a framework to convert any activity into adharmic. That is what is happening now. Because krodhodbhavati sammoha smriti bhramshat buddhinashat pranashyati. In any activity you do, if you are too much overpowered by senses, if indriyas take over, that activity you will end up being adharmic. That's what will happen finally. Because you have lost your control. Yeah. No, that will not come here. If you want to do puja, and in order to do, you can do puja with a patram pushpam balam toyam. But you want to offer 108, golden lotus. You steal gold and then offer golden lotus. Then that will fit in here. That's why you have to define what is kama. Krishna has defined it in chapter 7. Dharma avruddhya kamosmi aham. He has beautifully defined. Any kama which is not vruddha, it is dharma avruddha. You should not militate against dharma. For example, I can have a desire, I will get all the school children educated, all poor people educated. That's a good kama. That kama is okay. That's what I am telling you. Dharma avruddha kamosmi aham bharatarshaba. There is one 10th shloka, 11th shloka in chapter 7 of Bhagavad Gita, in which he defines all desire which is dharmic, which is not vitiating dharma. Krishna says, see me there. See godliness there. See me meaning godliness there. I am not talking about that. But even such a intention, if it gets derailed midway, then you reach here. That's what I mean. No, that's what I'm saying. Your desire should not vitiate dharma. The desire, what is this root telling? You all start with desire is okay. I mean, if you want to do this, do that is all fine. But the process of doing it, you become adharmic. All that you do, you should not become adharmic. When do you become adharmic? Krodhat bhavati sammoha. All that you do, but you don't get overpowered by your desire should not overpower all your indriyas and indulge you in all kinds of nonsense that you lose your power of discrimination. All that should not happen. That happens when the indriyas take over. If indriyas don't take over, that kamas are all fine. We all have our own desires to do small little things. They're all okay. That's why dharmic. That's the most important keyword here. It should be dharmic. That's the point. And it will become adharmic when indriyas take over. That's what it is. You know, this is a very beautiful shloka in Viveka Chudamani. Look at what Acharya is saying. Shabdadibihi panchabihi eva pancha panchatvam apuhu baddhaha kuranga matanga patanga meena bringanaraha panchabihi anchitaha kim. What he says is Shabdadibihi. Shabda adi. Adi in Sanskrit is et al. Shabda dot. Etc. etc. If you have to say, you have to say adi. Shabdadibihi. What are the Shabdadibihi? Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. To tell all the five, he simply Acharya says Shabdadibihi. Panchabihi. There are five of them. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Five of them are there. Panchatvam apuhu baddhaha. I will give you an example in which each one of them completely binds a personality or a person or an entity. I will tell you that first. And what are those five? Kuranga, Matanga, Patanga, Meena, Bringa. We saw all of them in Avadhuta Gita. We saw all of them. Kuranga is deer. Turanga or Kuranga, both you can say. Okay, Kuranga, Matanga is elephant. Patanga we saw in Avadhuta Gita, the firefly. Bringa we saw, the bee. Meena we saw. So Acharya says, I am giving you 5 examples. In the 5 examples, they got destroyed because only one Indriya was powerful. He says, be careful, Pa, all the 5 Indriyas are powerful for you. The 6th is Nara. Panchabihi Anchita Kim. For you, all the 5 are powerful. I have given you example in which just because one Indriya was powerful in the sense, actually I should say powerless, not powerful. I should tell it the other way. In these 5 examples, one Indriya was powerless. That's why it got stuck. He says, be careful. All your 5 Indriyas are powerless. If you leave the control. If you leave the control, it becomes powerless. You will be tossed in 5 dimensions. Be careful. That's what Acharya says. So that is why Indriya Nigraha is very, very important. That is why Avadhuta took Yadu Maharaja on a walking. He showed all these different things. And through that, he was trying to tell you that your journey, in the spiritual journey that you have, very important milestone is Indriya Nigraha. You have to do it. That's why he took through all these 5 examples. Kuranga, Matanga, Patanga, Meena, Bringa. Acharya says, you are even more dangerous, be careful. That's what he is saying here. Look at this, is a very beautiful imagery of Bhagavad Gita. No? Whenever we see Bhagavad Gita, we see this photo. I want you, this is the most profound message in this photo. Okay? There is one shloka, 41st shloka in chapter 3. Indriyani paran yahuhu. Indriyebhya param manaha. Manasastu para buddhihi. Buddhestu parasastu saha. There is one shloka. You know what is he saying? It's saying, Indriyani paran yahuhu. The Indriyas are better than the body. Indriyebhya param manaha. The manas is better than the Indriyas. Manasastu para buddhihi. The buddhi is better than manas. Buddhestu parasastu saha. The Shuddha Chaitanya which is sitting inside, which is better than all these. In other words, there is a master slave. There is an order here. Body, Indriyas is the next layer, and then manas. Okay? Then, after manas, it is buddhi. You will find the Pancha Kosha also in this order, if you see. In the body is Annamaya Kosha. Okay? Then Indriyani is the expression of the Pranamaya Kosha. Then Manomaya Kosha. Buddhi is the Vijnanamaya Kosha. You can even map this to that yesterday, what I said. You know what is this is showing? It is exactly showing that that entire shloka is actually represented by this Parthasarathi image. What is happening here? How can the chariot run? Chariot cannot even go one step forward. Chariot is inert, please understand. The motive power is not with the chariot. Chariot is inert. This body is inert. Don't think this body has any motive power. The body has no motive power. Motive power are supplied through the Indriyas and the Prana and all that. That's why a dead body is no longer motive. So the motive power is not available to the body as much as the motive power is not available for a chariot. Your, Vrindavan Express or Choran Express has no motive power. The motive power is in the engine or in the petrochemical which is part of the engine or the battery which is part of it. The compartment has no motive power. So this Ratha has no motive power. The motive power for the Ratha is there is a 4 horsepower here. There are 4 horses, 4 HP motor. Okay? The motive power is in the horses, not in the chariot. Understood? Now, if you just leave the horses, what will happen? 4 horses will go 4 directions. So the chariot will actually be torn to pieces. The fellow who is sitting in the chariot will be thrown out. That's what will happen. So now you have to have some ways to navigate. So all of them have reins. For the horse, they put it here. For the bull, they put it here. I remember, in my childhood, I used to run our bullock cart. We know how to apply the brake, how to speed it. Everything control is here actually. Yeah, I remember in my village, we used to do it, along with it, say, can I also do something like that? So there is a reins. The reins is where the control of the horse, right? Now, it is not important to have the reins. The reins somebody also hold, no? If somebody doesn't hold the reins, what is the use of the reins? It is as good as leaving the horses. So somebody has to hold. The charioteer is holding. The Parthasarathi here is holding. Okay? And then there is somebody sitting inside, Arjuna. And now the chariot will move. This is not about Arjuna or Parthasarathi. It is about our life journey. In our life journey, we have a Ratha. That Ratha is called body. The body, we have to take this. It doesn't go by itself. It is all, made active only by the Indriya. That's why you have to shout at somebody, smile at somebody, hit at somebody, run away. All your motive power are only in Indriyas, nowhere else. So the equivalent of hearts is your Pancha Indriyas. Then somebody has to hold it. That's why I said Indriyani Dashaikam, Panchachendriya Gocharaha. There is one third or fourth sloka in chapter 13 when Krishna talks about what is Kshetram. He says Indriyani Dashaikam, Panchachendriya Gocharaha. That's what he says. So Dashaikam, I said 10 plus 1. Manas is a super Indriya. Why? Manas is controlling the Indriya. So the equivalent of reins is Manas. Now that Manas must be controlled by somebody. That is the Buddhi. The equivalent of Parthasarathi is the Buddhi. Let's say Buddhintu Sarathim Vidhi. There is a Kathopanishad. There is a mantra. Buddhintu Sarathim Vidhi. Understand, Buddhi must be the charioteer. He only can actually navigate the chariot to the destination. Then the Suddha Chaitanya, which is sitting inside the body, will reach the destination. The destination is Atma Vidya. Kashi, we have to reach that Kashi. Kashyam Kashyate Kashi, Sa Kashi, Sarva Prakashika. That Kashi is where we have to reach. And that Suddha Chaitanya is sitting here. That is the equivalent of the Arjuna. So when you see this photo next time, you should understand this is about our life journey. Whenever you see the Ratha, you should remember our body. Whenever you see the horses, we should remember our Indriyas. Whenever we see the reins, we should remember our Manas. Whenever you see Parsarthi, you should remember the Buddhi. Whenever you see Arjuna, you remember the Suddha Chaitanya. And remember that this journey actually is for reaching liberation, reaching the final state of our existence. So that is what, so this is all about Indriya Nigraha. This whole imagery, Parthasarathi imagery is about our life. Anyway, so we have seen 15 gurus. I keep reminding you, once in a while, right? Prithvi is Titiksha and Paropakara. Vayu is Nisangatva. Apa is sweetness and purity. Agni is Ahara Shuddhi. Akasha is the true nature of consciousness. Moon, Chandra is about change and changelessness. Sun is about the real nature of oneself. Pigeon talks about the perils of attachment. Python gives us a message. God takes care of everything. That is the message of Python. We have to keep doing. But what you have to get, God decides and then you take it and go. With folded hands, take it as prasadam and go. God takes care of everything is Python. Samudram, resilience. And the 5 Indriyas, together they give a very strong message. Do not get enslaved to the Indriyas. If you get enslaved to the Indriyas, pranashyati. The individual destroys himself in the journey of spiritual progress, self-unfoldment. They will be completely retrograde in their step. Instead of walking this way, they start walking this way. So that will happen. Is all we have said. So now we move. Now Yadu is taking us further. This is actually in between. The shloka is actually in between. I pulled it out. Okay. Because I thought as a block, I wanted to talk the Panchendriyas. This comes immediately after the Bringi. After the honeybee, it comes. Yesterday, if you remember, what did we see in honeybee? Honey collects a lot of the honey. Little bit. That is what we saw yesterday. So you should slowly collect so many ideas from different people and then make your life a lot more wiser. That is a message there. But there is another message of honeybee which we have to understand from the fellow who comes and takes the honey out. Same honeybee is used for giving another example now, for which you have the Madhuha. Madhum harati iti Madhuha. One who destroys the honeybee and then takes the honey and goes away. He is Madhuha. Yeah. So let us see what it says. Nadeyam nopabhogyam cha lubdairyadukka sanchitam bhunkte tadapi tachanye madhuhevarta vidmatu. Nadeyam. See, a lobi, a miser, a lobi, you know what he says, what he does? He or she collects all resources and keep it to himself or herself. They find it very difficult to give. That's the toughest thing for them. Their heart aches. Genuinely, I'm telling you, I find it, if you ask, I'll have to give. There's no joy. Whereas in Taittiriya Upanishad, you know what it says? Beautifully it talks. Shraddhaya deyam, ashraddhaya adeyam, hriya deyam, biya deyam, samvida deyam. Beautifully it says act of giving, how you should give. In Siksha only last Anuvaka, in the convocation address, it's enough if you just read that. All life principles are available in that one Anuvaka. The 11th Anuvaka of Siksha Valli of Taittiriya Upanishad is a convocation address. Matra Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Titi Devo Bhava. It starts from there. Very beautiful ideas in which giving is also there. How to give. Whereas a lobby does not give, like want to give. I mean, lobby really, it really bothers him, hurts him, if I had to use a word. Some people don't want to give. They want to take, but they don't want to give. Like that. No, Sringeri Acharya Bharati Swami, quite often you will say, he says the biggest giver is the lobby, he says. The biggest donator is actually the lobby. Why? Because he gathers and leaves it for somebody's use later. He really gives it. Only thing is he gives it later. Looks like. That's what happened. So he says, na deyam, na upabhogyam cha. I don't use it. I don't also give. I accumulate. Na deyam, na upabhogyam cha. Lubdaihi yat dukkha sanchitam. The lobby makes effort to collect and grow that asset, grow that money, grow that asset. It takes effort. Nothing comes. There is no free lunch. Everything requires effort. The only thing is that misery person does not want to give, nor he enjoys it also. Doesn't spend well and enjoy it. At least you should do it, minimum. That also he doesn't do. Right? Then he is called Lubdaha. Lubdaha is a miser. Okay? Bhunkte tadapi tacha anyaha. Finally, he doesn't enjoy. I don't know who is going to enjoy. He is gone one day. One day is gone. All is accumulated has absolutely no meaning because you can't take a paisa with you. The last shirt that you wear does not have a pocket. You cannot do a wire transfer to where you go. It is not possible to do wire transfer because these are perishable commodities. The only wire transfer you do is the good act of giving and the dharma that you take along with that. That gets automatically wire transferred to your next janma. There are a lot of subhashitas which says what comes with you is only your dharma. Nothing else will come with you. Only your good act will come with you. There are some subhashitas on that. So, this money that he accumulated, he is not enjoying it, he is not giving to anyone. He is actually biggest giver because he left it for somebody else. That's what Bharati Swami quite often says. He is the biggest giver because he has left it for somebody. That's what he says. Tadapi tacha anyaha. How is it? It is Madhuha iva. Madhuha iva arthavit. Madhuho. So, moment I saw honey, he shows a honey gatherer. Edu Maharaja has taken. Look at this. That honey collected. It neither enjoyed, gave it to nobody, nor gave it to anybody. Finished. All of them will die. This fellow will then destroy all of them and take the honey and go. We have to learn from that. So if you keep accumulate wealth, you will have no use for you. Somebody is going to use it. That's what happened there. You just see that. It collected so much of honey with painstakingly. It collected the honey. Finally, this fellow came with a flame of fire bundle and finished all these bees, squeezed it, cut it, and took it and went away. Finished. He shows that to Yadu Maharaja. Dukkopajachitairbhittaihi ashasanam grihasishu madhuhevagrato bhunkte yetirvai grihamedinam. Is it? Maybe I have to add it later. 16 not there. When I prepared something, then I started reading. I read only 4 days before I start. But the material he has to print, I quickly collect something and give. So always there will be something missing. All these PPTs I will give you. Don't worry. All my PPTs will put it. It's all available. So don't worry too much. Later it will all be available. You can always take notes if you want a little bit or add or something like that. Or Bhagavatam, all these are anyway in Bhagavatam. That's why reference is there. Ekadasha Skandam, Ashtama Adhyaya, 16 Shloka. Sudukka uparjitaihi vittaihi, with great difficulty, this miser accumulated wealth. Correct? Grihasishu, this Grihastha he actually accumulated. He says, just like the Madhuha, honey gatherer who takes away the honey, agrataha, firstly, bhungte yetihi. It is a very confusing story. English translation is quite confusing. I have to explain it to you. It's a literal translation of this shloka. The shloka says that wealth accumulated by the miser, okay, with great difficulty accumulated. The first right of consumption is for the yeti. That's what it says, more or less, this shloka. I essentially know what it is saying. It is actually, you have to understand it slightly deeply. What it says is, whatever you accumulate in Grihastha-ashrama, because yatis are other than the Grihastha-ashramis, the brahmachari or the sannyasi, these are the people. Yati has to be understood like that. It is not just the sannyasi. It is those other than the Grihastha-ashramis. That is how you have to understand the word yati here. What he says is, in Grihastha-ashrama, whenever you accumulate, you should always offer that to the other 3 ashrama before you consume. That's the best thing. The right of consumption of your wealth must be for the others whom you have to take care. That is told in a slightly different way here. It says the first right of consumption is for them. What does it mean is, if you are a Grihamedini, you are a good Grihastha-ashrami, then whatever you accumulate, give it to them before you, we had this our Aryan style, Vedic style of living, we are supposed to do even today. Pancha Maha Yajnas. We have to do Pancha Maha Yajnas even today. We have to do what is called Brahma Yajnam, okay? Pitri Yajnam, Deva Yajnam, Manushya Yajnam, Bhuta Yajnam. There are 5 yajnas we have to do every day. And I remember in my place, the place where I was born, similar to this, we had a simple system. I think last year when I went, I was checking. After a long time, I checked that. Ours is the longest agrahara actually. We have 7 agraharas. Ours is the longest. Also, slightly wealthy people are in this particular street. There's a bit of that kind of a thing. We have about 120 houses. Give or take 1 or 2. I don't remember the last number exactly, but about 120 houses, 130 houses. We had a system. In every house, we'll give 1 handful of rice every day. Kanchi Mahapari Ajna Kaipidi Arisi. Okay. Somebody may give one handful of tur dal also, because they may be growing tur dal also. Whatever. You understand the spirit of it. So this is our system. And with that collection, we estimate that 30 people can be fed every day. So T35, whatever, because you have a sense. So we have a numbered token, 1 to 30, 35, and one of the 130 houses, somebody is keeping that tokens with them. Anybody can come and ask for food. We'll just say, go to that house. He will go, he will look at the number he has is 21 onwards. That means 14, 20 has been given, 15 more are there. That control is there. I have seen it all the time happening. That's Manushya Yajna. We should help Bhuta Yajna. We have a practice every day before we eat, we have to put a grain of cooked rice or something for the kaka, something, crow or something. We have to give, no? The Jivarashi we have to give. This is Bhuta Yajna. Deva Yajna. Devan bhavayata anena te deva bhavayantuvaha parasparam bhavayantaha shreyaha paramavapsita. Devas means natural forces. The Vedic gods are what? Agni, Vayu, Indra, Varuna. They are all natural forces. So what is Deva Yajna? We have to take care of it. We have to be very responsibly with them. We do it by way of a Yajna in a Homa Kunda also. Indra idannamama, Prajapate idannamama, Agnaye idannamama, Vayave idannamama, Surya idannamama. That's what we do it in a symbolic way. Essentially, Deva Yajna means be responsible with your nature. Then they will give you. Devan bhavayatanena, te deva bhavayantuvaha, parasparam bhavayantaha, shreyaha param vapsyata. You reach the pinnacle of success when you are able to do that. That is Deva Yajna. And what is Brahma Yajna? You have to transmit knowledge. Otherwise, it is such a selfish society. I will know everything. I don't care what I'm. This is most of the parents in big cities are having this problem. I can't tell anything to my children. I will stay away. I want good things. That society which says, I will not pass down the knowledge down the generation, should perish in 300 years. We all have to every day do Brahma Yajnam. For a Brahmana, the Brahma Yajnam is Satyancha Swadhyaya Pravachanecha, Ritancha Swadhyaya Pravachanecha, Shamascha Swadhyaya Pravachane Tamascha Swadhyaya Pravachane Prajascha Swadhyaya Pravachane Prajanascha Swadhyaya Pravachane Prajapatischa Swadhyaya Pravachane Swadhyaya and Pravachana. I should learn, I should pass it down the generation. We have washed our hands. All elders have washed their hands. They want, but they won't want to tell anything. And they say, no, my daughter will not listen, my son will not listen. One thing they say, this society will just corrupt. We have to do Brahma Yajnam. So that is all we have to understand. Before you consume the riches of what you have, if you don't do it, Krishna says, Tena eva saha, he says. But anyway, I'll come to it. What is the metaphor here? What are we supposed to learn from this teaching? We must be a traveler in our, that is what the honey story is telling us. We must be like a traveler. You go to a railway station, get into the compartment, there is a big thing. How do you travel? Carry light, do this, do that, don't carry inflammable material, then be listed. To me, they are all very spiritual ideas. We go and read each one of them. We all carry a lot of inflammable material with us in our life. Every instruction there, you can actually interpret it spiritually. Carry light. What does it mean? Unnecessarily, we are accumulating wealth. All kinds of things. Go to the Saturday, Sunday to the mall and then bring everything. Shop till you drop. That kind of these Western ideas. Buy all kinds of things and then throw it. What is all this? We should be, our life is a journey. And if you have to make this journey very well, travel light. That's what the Madhuha is telling us. The honey bee and the honeybee gatherer are giving us a message. That message is lead a life like a traveler. Carry light so that you can keep going. Wherever you have to go, you can keep going. Oh, huge luggage, that itself will first severely affect your ability to travel. Right? So carry less worries about guarding them. Right? And travel is easy. See, in Tamil, there is this proverb, Madiyila ganam irundha, valiyila bayam. If you carry something very heavy, very valuable, you have fear. That is it. That's what it means. Huh? So that is what it is. Our sense of entitlement will become very low when you become a light traveler. So the honeybee and the honeybee gatherer is telling all those messages to us. We have learned those messages from Madhuha and the Bringi. Then comes, he goes around, he walks into Yadu Maharaja walks along with Avadhuta walks with Yadu Maharaja, and he goes into the street. Okay, there he finds a Veshi by name Pingala. Okay, and this so there is a learning even from that. Okay, so the first question that crosses our mind is why do you have to bring a story of a Veshi into a discussion in a Purana? This is what we think. There is a subtle message there. In the Sanatana Dharma, good, evil, etc., are all only in a continuum. Unlike the Semitic religion, there good and evil are two opposite camps. In Sanatana Dharma, it is not like that. It is only a continuum. The shade only changes. Because it is Sarvatma Bhava, then this whole hypothesis will fall flat. That Sarvam Vishnumayam Jagat, if Sarvam Vishnumayam Jagat, then, a person of a not so good character doing mischief, an idiot, a thief, everybody must be Vishnu only. It is. Sanatana Dharma says it is. So therefore, even we need to understand that message, that everything is Bhagavad Srishti, everything is Bhagavad Drishti for us. Okay? Everything is only the God particle. Okay? What may happen is, due to karma palas, vasanas, so many things are there. Due to karma, vasanas and karma palas and ignorance and all that, people can commit mistakes and so on. They can do things which they need not be doing and all that. That cannot be the basis to dispose of anybody. Actually, society is quite tolerant if you understand the principles of Sanatana Dharma very well. Good and evil. I will take some shlokas from Gita to show you how this comes so beautifully. No, very nicely it does. So, such stories are also part of Avadhuta, because first of all, the first message you get is everything is Bhagavad Srishti, everything is Bhagavad Amsha. The second encouragement that we get from such stories is this story, for example, I quickly narrate the story and tell a few shlokas, is, sometimes we think, oh, am I really worthy of this evolution? So many nice things are told. It looks like the gold standard is here. I have done so many small little mistakes. I even done some bigger mistakes, smaller mistakes. These stories give encouragement. All that is fine. All that is fine. This Shishupala, right? Bhakti, there are different, there are Navavida Bhakti. Prahlada talks about Shravanam, Kirtanam, Padasevanam, Atmanivedanam, all that he says. There is a nice shloka in Bhagavatam, 8th canto or something you find anyway. Navavida Bhakti is one. But look at this character called Sishupala. Right? Sishupala attained Mukti. And what was Sishupala doing? Sishupala was all the time wanting to do something for this Krishna. So this Shishupala, Kamsa Shishupala, if you think constantly of the God, that is going to give you benefit. That is a story there. Maybe out of aggression, out of fear, Kamsa had a fear. Shishupala did not have a fear. Kamsa had a fear because he thought this 8th child is going to come. I don't know where it is. So he was all the time in Bhagavad Chintana. Shishupala was also all the time in Bhagavad Chintanam only for a different reason. Right? And that is why Krishna said, I will give you 100 mistakes. If you make the 100th mistake, I will finish you off. It is just to grow his bhakti even stronger. So all these stories in our Puranas are telling, Bhagavan has a 360-degree view. You can enter Bhagavan from any perspective. It doesn't mean all of us have to become very aggressive. I didn't mean any of those. I'm only saying that the stories also gives us encouragement that we don't have to worry. If you are on the right path. So there is this lady by name, Pingala. Now in Srimad Bhagavatam, again, like PGN, this also has a number of slokas. I'm skipping all the slokas because I'll tell the story rather than going through the slokas. Some slokas I want to take. Actually, from 23rd verse to 44th verse in chapter 8 is Pingala's story. From the 23rd sloka to 44th sloka. With that, the chapter ends actually. 23rd sloka to 33rd sloka, the first 11 slokas, Pingala is only narrating a certain experience. This has two parts. This entire slokas you can broadly cut into two parts. The first part is Pingala shares her experience. And the second part is Pingala has a sense of realization. So that's how the two parts come in the story. Story is Pingala is a prostitute. So she is waiting and waiting every day. That's how she spends her life. And then it is going on. One day she is like that, waiting and all that. Nobody is coming, and then she gets very disgusted. And this goes on like that. Suddenly, there's some thought crosses her mind. Why am I wasting my time like this? Because so many people will come and go. I don't seem to have any sense of satisfaction or joy that I have to have. So that realization comes to her one day. What am I doing? That puts her into a certain sense of deep thought. Then, so the first 11 slokas talks about her disappointment that she didn't find her customer. She was wanting. Then she starts thinking, what am I trying to do? She goes back to a little bit of her thinking. What am I doing? Then the next 10 slokas is where she really understands, this is not what I should be doing. I think I have just wasted my time. That's how, so shloka is actually narrated here. So let me just take you through. So this 27, 28 in the middle of her experience of feeling, okay? Tasya vittashaya sushyat vaktriya dina chetasah nirveda paramo jagye chinta hetu sukavaha vittashaya. Just because she thought I should earn my money and have my material riches and so on, right? Dina chetasah, poor out of poor thinking that I have to earn money and be comfortable, thinking like that, okay? Paramo jagne chinta hetuku sukavaha, which was not happening. Okay, Sushyat Bhaktriya, some days it was not happening. Sushyat is Sushka, no? So it was not happening. Then she became really thoughtful. What is happening now? Only then she starts thinking, what is happening now? What am I doing? Right? See, even to many of us, whether we're doing right thing or wrong thing is not the issue. When the going is good, we don't think anything. We really think only when the going is bad. Then we go back to the drawing board. We go back to the basics. So I should tell you one story that will explain this very beautifully because they're all very counterintuitive ideas. So if we get more and more kashta, if we get more and more challenges and this thing in life, challenges in life, our ordinary mindset is, why is God so cruel to me like that we think? Actually, that is God's anugraha actually. Because only then you really, go back to your drawing board and think, Narada and Krishna, Vishnu. This is a story. Narada and Vishnu are just walking. There is one wealthy Vishnu Bhakta, very smart guy, smart cookie. So they get into their house. Then Vishnu says, I am Vishnu. I have come here. So this fellow knows which side of the bread is butter. That's why I said smart cookie. But he's a Bhakta, but Artha Bhakta. So he takes care of him, gives him special, create a very nice impression, etc., etc. Everything he does, they stay, food, everything very beautifully, everything is arranged. bed and all very comfortably made. Night time, one more milk with badam powder, everything is all over. Next day morning, Vishnu and Narada leaves the house. So Vishnu gives Ashirvada. Let you have more and more Aishwarya. And then they go. Then they go on walking. Then they encounter another pure Agmar quality Bhakta, who is an absolutely poor. Who is absolutely poor. But so they go to their house. Then they say, I am Vishnu. This Bhakta is melted. Completely melted. Because he is praying and then Vishnu has come in front. So he has one torn mat. He gives that mat to him. He has a little bit of milk which he gives to him. He goes on, upavas. All that, nothing. He has nothing. All that is over. Next day morning after they get up, Vishnu actually gives an Ashirvada, but he murmurs. He doesn't tell loudly. Then they go out. Narada asks, what did you tell? I didn't hear. There I heard what you said. What did you say here? Oh, you asked me what I said. He has one cow. I blessed that the cow must die. So Narada asks, what do you mean? That poor chap, his entire, that is, at least there is one cow there, he has a means of living and you are doing an Ashirvada like that. You know what Vishnu said? This is a story. Vishnu said, this person is 99.99999 bhakta. That point not one is because of that cow. I want to take out that cow. He will completely come to me. So we don't know how God blesses us. All those are ajagara vritti. But in our ordinary mind, what we think, a blessing must be more Aishwarya. If some challenges happen, God has been cruel to us. We have not understood. So that is what she went through. She understood in one sloka, it comes, maybe a little later it comes, I think. Tasya nirvinna chetaya Gitam shunu yata mama nirveda asha pashanam purushasya yatahi asihi. Asi is a sword. Asi means sword. Now Avadhuta says she actually sang a song out of her realization, which I will tell you, listen. This sloka is only saying that, okay? Gitam shunu. Okay? Asha pashanam purushasya yatahi asi. He realized how these indriyas, these temptation in life are like a sword, which will actually destroy yourself. He was thinking like that. I will tell you. Then he goes on, take a few shlokas. Santam samipe ramanam radipradam vittapradam nityamimam vihaya akamadam dukkha bhayadi shoka mohapradam tucchamaham bhajagne bhajegnya. Agnya, I am an Agnya. There is Avagraha there. Agnya, I was so ignorant. Okay? She is saying, I was so ignorant. And I am doing the bhajana of what? I have given up something and then I am doing bhajana of something else. She says, Santam samipe ramanam. This Ramana is within me. The Shuddha Chaitanya is my real companion. Instead of that, I wasted my time going out thinking something else. Santam samipe ramanam. He is Radipradam. He is the one who will give me happiness. Nityam imam bihaya. There is a good companion for me. I abandoned that. And I went in terms of some company outside through my profession. That's what her reflection is. Okay? Akamadam dukkha bhayadi shoka moha pradam. This one that I am going through is only generate moha, dukkha, all that. Tucham. Aham bhaje. I was actually celebrating that. I was thinking that is the most valuable thing. I never realized there is something more permanent, more happy, more closer to me, with me. I leaving it, through a profession, I am thinking it is all available elsewhere. And I wasted my time like that. She starts. Suhut preshtatamaha nata atma cha ayam shariranam tam vikriyat atmena eva aham ramanena yatarama. She says, instead of selling myself to somebody, I will sell it to my Atma Priya. I will become his Dasi. He says, I know that he is sitting here. Okay, Suhrit. He is the Suhrit. He is my well-wisher. He is inside my heart. That Bhagavan is inside my heart. He is the Suhrit. Okay? Atma cha ayam sharirinam Atma. Tam Vikriyatma. I will offer myself to him. Instead of offering to all these perishable people, I will offer myself to him. Right? Just like Yata Ramanena Yata Rama. Just like Parvati Parameshwara, I want to be like that. I want to be like that. I have wasted all my time. I want to be like that. I have wasted all my time in my life. Maivam Sihu Mandabhagyayaha Klesha Nirveda Hetavaha Yenanubandam Nirhritya Purushaha Shamam Richati. Shamam Richati. Ma evam. Ma plus evam is maivam. A plus a becomes I. Gunasandhi. So maivam is ma evam. If it has not happened like this, if that, that's why I told that story. If that cow was not taken away from that poor bhakta, that bhakta would have never reached liberation. For the bhakta to reach liberation, you have to take the cow. So this Pinkala says, if this no business which happened to me for a few days, if that has not happened, I would not have thought about this. That's what he's saying. That had triggered my thought. Ma evam sihu, okay, mandabhagyayaha, kleshaha. If this klesha has not happened to this dull head like me, I would not have actually yena anubandham nirhritya, to give up all that. Purushaha samam richati. She said, it is a blessing for me. It is a blessing in disguise. What happened only turned me. Just like that Brahmana, that's why I told that story. The Brahmana, the Vishnu blessed that let this cow die. Because of that, he fully turned. So when God closes one door, God knows how to open another door. We have to, that is the Ajagara Vritti. In a way, you can connect it to the Ajagara also now. That is the Ajagara Vritti. When God closes one door, God knows what to open. That Shraddha we need. If that Shraddha is there, there will be a Shanti which will come in our life. Much of our tension will come down. I mean, things will happen. Nothing will change. Not they actually show in the movie, you suddenly become a Superman. None of that happens. That's all for drama. Movie you have to do, then only time we can spend, and some masala will also be there. That's not what it is. So many nonsense will happen. But because of Shraddha, Upashantihi, Manonvrittihi, Upashanti eva. Manikarnika Gata will come for us. That will happen. She is experiencing that. Okay? Tena upakritam adaya shirasa gramya sangataha tyaktva durashaha sharanam brajami tam adishwaram. I will give up all this. I will surrender unto him. I have just wasted my time. I never understood it. I needed a shock. I needed a shock in my life to understand this truth. When the going is good, right or wrong is not the issue. That's why I said, if the going is good, God has not helped us. We will not learn anything. When the going goes the other way, we will become very thoughtful. We really start thinking. That's why people, in Navagraha, they always are afraid of Shaniswara. Shaniswara is the best thing for you, I'm telling you. Because Shaniswara gives you the challenge. We become better only when we face challenges. You don't have to face challenge every half an hour. That is a different thing. I'm saying challenges don't look at challenges with a negative sense is all that I'm saying. Don't go and pray, please give me challenges, which Kunti did. Kunti did in Mahabharata. Then only I'll remember you all the time. Kunti went to that extent. She said, give me troubles so that I can remember you all the time. We don't have to do that kind of a prayer. What I am saying is, troubles come, don't get agitated. See that as a Bhagavad Prasada. This Pingala story is giving us that. See that as a Bhagavad Prasada, then we'll convert a distressful situation to something which we will, one more, this will also pass. Let's go. That is a wise way of living. That is a worldly wisdom. That life is a sensible life rather than jumping up and down, shouting, saying this fellow did that, that fellow, worked against me. Good energy is dissipated like that in our life. We can have a slightly wiser dimension of life. Many of these we will not do. We will take it. Little emotions will be there. Then we'll move on. We'll just move on. She chose to move on rather than getting worried about it. The God came and then gave her that grace. Santushta Shraddhayati etat yata labhena jivati virahami amunena vaha aham atmana ramanena vai. She became very happy. This distress put her into a great thought, right? And she said, Yata labhena jivati viharami. What I was doing for the purpose of my gains and all that, viharami. Just leave. I'll now live with Bhagavan. The Bhagavan is here. She found the Kashi. Basically, she found the Kashi. Easily, she was able to find the Kashi somehow inside her. So she said, I will, Atmana Ramanena Vai. The Ramana is here. I will give up other things. I will live with this. I will do that kind of a thing. She found the Kashi in her. Right? Samsara kupe patitam vishayehi mushite kshanam grastam kalahinatmanam ko anyas sratum adishwaraha. We are all patitaha. We have fallen deep into this samsara kupam, into this well called samsara, patitam, vishayehi mushite kshanam. All these indriyas have just glided us one way or other. We have fallen into the trap. In some sense, that is what it is, right? And grastam kala ahina, the ahi, the snake called time, is just consuming us. That's what is happening. Kala ahina grastam atmanam. Then she says, ko anyasta tratum, who can protect you other than that Ishvara? We got ourselves distracted, we did this, that, and so on. We were consumed by time. Only one who can protect is that Ramana, who is in us. Atmaiva tishtati, Atma Ramaha, Atmaratihi, Atmanyeva, Atmani tishtati. That Anubhava. That is what she got into. Atmaiva Hyatmano Gopta, Nirvidyeta Yata Kilam, Apramatta Idam Pashyed, Grastam Kalahina Jagat. Okay? Pashyed Grastam Kalahina Jagate. One who has been able to finally see through this. See through what? Kalahina Grastam. The serpent called time is just consuming us. A person who is able to see that, apramattaha, carefully, what will happen? Atmaiva hi atmana gopta. He will be protected by himself or herself. The protection comes from within. Atmaiva hi atmanaha goptaha nirvidyeta yata kilat. They will understand this finally. She comes to a conclusion. I have foolishly gone around doing a lot of things. This challenge that threw at me in my profession made me suddenly, very thoughtful of what life is. And in the process, I understood what is really happening. That is what she actually sort of concludes in her story. No, Bhagavad Gita, I always tell people, you just have to read only Bhagavad Gita, nothing else is required. You ask anything, I will quote from Bhagavad Gita if you want. Look at these two slokas, beautiful slokas in, ninth chapter, Rajavidya Rajaguhya. Look at here. Apiche suduracharaha bhajate mam ananyabhak sadhureva samantavyah samyak vyavasito hi saha. He may be a durachara in the past. Apiche suduracharaha bhajate mam ananyabhak. But there is a time when he turned or she turned. That's what Pingala did. She was a durachari. But moment she turned, bhajate mam ananyabhak sadhu eva sahamantavya. I think he has taken to a right step. Krishna is saying, samyak vyavasito sitaha. He has made the right arrangement for him. Vyavastha means arrangement, no? Samyak vyavastito hi saha. Then look at the next sloka. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Axiomatic statement. Name bhakta pranashyati. My bhaktas will never go in vain. There are very inspiring shlokas like that in Bhagavad Gita. You need only those shlokas to dispel all your doubt and go. Name bhakta pranashyati. You will find that my bhakta will never perish. Na kaschit kalyanakrit durgatim tata gacchati. He says in 6th chapter. The efforts that you put will never go wasted. So you can start your journey at the age of 80, 90, 20, 30. Doesn't matter. Nothing will go wasted. He says that. Shuchinam Shrimatam Gehe Yoga Brashto Vijayate. Atava. He says, nothing will go wasted. You will continue. So people ask me, sir, I am starting very late. No. Bhagavad grace has fallen. Time and all, why are you? Pingala can, turn. Why not we? And we need that grace of that's why Daivanugraha Hetukam. That is why we have to pray. People ask, why do you have to pray? I said, you need Daivanugraha for many things. People come and ask, why should I pray? I will be a top-notch Vedantist. Good luck, I say, because that is not enough. You need Daivanugraha for which you pray. The grace of the Lord must fall on us. That's the other catalyst that we need. So he says, Kshipram bhavati dharmatma. He becomes pure. Shashvaschantim nigacchati. He reached that state of upashanti because he has turned towards me. Apichetsu duracharaha bhajate mamananyapat. You look at our, Tulsidas, you look at Valmiki, so many people you can look at. Look at Purandaradasa. He was a high-end, this thing. What is that? His financial transaction, no? You give your, broker, pawn broker. He was a top-end pawn broker. How many Dasarapadas will melt? You should learn Kannada only for a few reasons. Mankutimana Kagga or Dasharapada is so good. Ragi Tandira, Bhikshukarahi Tandira. You have to read that Dasarapada, for example. Such beautifully turned. In fact, he has the largest number of compositions. Look at his past. Look at Valmiki's past. Look at Tulsidas' past. All these are the examples for this sloka. Bhajate mam ananyapak. Previous can be anything. That's what Pingala did the same thing. So that is the story. So the Pingala story is only telling us that Abhichesu Durach, that is the only message in Pingala's story. Abhichesu Duracharaha bhajate mam ananyapak sadhureva samantavyaha. Doesn't matter, you might have, because of our Vasana Pala, so many things we may do. We don't have to worry. The day we decided to turn, for which His grace alone is required again, the day we turn towards Him, there is no looking back. That's what Pingala's story. So Edu was given that story and said, understand that from your life. That is what he is actually saying in this Pingala. Okay. Then comes the next. So he keeps walking with the Raja. He finds something very interesting. I have put it here. Next, he shows this scene. You see a scene here. There is a bird called sea eagle, not the normal eagle. It's called osprey. That's called kurara in Sanskrita. Okay. This bird actually lifts the, huge catch from the sea. They are called sea eagle. And the one bird was lifting a prey. This is basically a prey. It's only a prey, no, at the end of the day. So it has lifted its prey and it was going. Now, so many of them came and then attacked it. This single bird, which was carrying this, so many of them attacked it. Not one. This was trying to fight, but they were fiercely attacking. Finally, you know what it did? It dropped the fish, every bird went. So he showed that to him. The Edu Maharaja, Avadhuta, showed the Edu, look at this. You have to learn something from here. Okay, look at this Kurara. That's what a pair of shlokas. We will see that two shlokas, what he says. Parigraho hi dukkaya yadyat priyatamam nrunam anantam sukhamapnoti tad vidwan yastu kinchanaha yaha tu akinchanaha. All those has become into a sandhi. Yes, tu akinchanaha. Yaha tu akinchanaha. That has become a sandhi like this. Okay. Parigraha hi dukkaya. In fact, this message already came in the honey also. The moment you accumulate, it is going to be a problem for you. If you accumulate anything, dukkaya, parigraha. You should have aparigraha. If you accumulate, you become a center of attraction. That is why you have to put in big cities, in big houses, you have to have complex, CCTV, this, that, so that the moment you put a big house, everybody knows there is something inside which we can actually look for. So, parigraha hi dukkaya. Okay? Yet apriyatamam nunam. What you think is the most sought after, if you have more of it, you will be in trouble. That's what it is saying. You can be potentially in trouble. Yeah? Anantam sukhamapnoti tat vidwan yes tu akinchana. The person who has nothing is actually very happy in some ways, because these kind of troubles are not there. Right? That is the point. These kind of troubles may not be there. So a person, arthanam arjane dukkam. Look at this whole formula. Arthanam arjane dukkam. It takes a lot of effort to collect money. Arjitanam rakshanam dukkam. Now you have to protect now. So you have a double whammy now. Trying to accumulate is not easy. We have to put the best foot forward. A lot of effort is required. Then once you have a lot of it, then there is a next problem that starts. You have to now protect it, grow it, wealth management. Then somebody said, put it into these, these stocks, they will go up. Unfortunately, they came down. No, I say, no, don't do it. There is a mutual fund. It is a basket. They come and sell you so many things as to how your wealth will grow. How can your wealth grow all the time? This itself is a wrong idea. If everybody's wealth grow, it's a zero-sum game. It's called zero-sum game. Wealth is actually a zero-sum game. If you have to become richer, somebody has to become poorer, because the sum total is the same. It's called zero-sum game in game theory. Okay. So, but they are selling to everyone, your wealth will grow, and the whole of India thinks wealth will grow for everyone. Where from it is going to grow, I do not know. That's not the case. Arjane sarvam dukkam, ajitanam hitam apni dukkam. That is what this is actually telling. Samisham kuraram jagnuhu balino yaniramishaha tada misham parityajya sasukam samavindata. Amisham means food. Sa amisham means along with the food. Which means I am having the food. That's the meaning. Sa kutumbam, we say, no? Kutumbena saha. Sa kutumbam. Sa parivaram. Parivarena saha. In Sanskrit, if you put a sa, it means also. Sa kutumbam means along with the family. Sa kutumbam, sa parivaram, sa misham, sa amisham. So as long as the kurara, which was carrying the food, samisham kuraram, that kurara which was carrying a food, there are niramishas, fellows without food. They are the niramishas, and they are ferociously attacking. Balinaha jagnuhu. That's what it is saying. The niramishaha kuraraha, Samisham kuraram balena jagnuhu. The fellow who did not have that possession looked at this fellow who is having possession and ferociously attacked. It's the first line. And what is the second line? Tad amisham parityaja. He dropped that food. Moment he dropped the food. Tada amisham parityajya saha sukam samavindata. He entered into a state of sukha. He showed that what was happening on the sky. He told Rajan, now you have to understand your lesson of life now. Right? That's very, very important. Because, I mean, we all do accumulate. That's okay. All these are telling, don't get blindfolded. I'm not saying throw everything out and then stand on the road. I'm not going anywhere there. But I'm saying, if you don't have this wisdom, we get into some nonsense and feel very sorry about it. The entire betting business is like that only, no? First time I got some money, so I'll go to the second time, I'll go to the third time, fifth time, it will take everything. Zero-sum game will work. And then that sprinkle it on somebody, and then that fellow is also getting excited now. That kind of a thing. That's why a good living is Kurayondrumillai Malaimurti Kanna Kurayondrum Illai Govinda. Or Rajaji. He said, no Kurai. There is nothing. I don't feel a sense of incompleteness. Your ability to feel a sense of incompleteness has nothing to do with your physical assets or your property. It has to do with your mind. It has nothing to do with what you have in terms of your bank balance, none of that. Kurayondrumullai Maraimurti Kanna. This is such a beautiful song. That is the lesson here. A life in which means I will continue to work. I will tell you 1,000 times. Nobody will take their hands off and go put an easy chair and sit. That means they have not understood the teaching. That's not the teaching. The teaching is without pressure you will do work. If it comes, Bhagavad Prasada. It goes, Bhagavad Prasada. Have a little bit more, Bhagavad Prasada. Then I will give you. I will go to another teaching now. Oh, a little more is there? Let me share. I will do Panchamahayajna. That life is an interesting life. That life will be a life in which the heart will be filled. Packet may or may not be filled. Heart 100% will be filled. Our life is a life in which our heart has to fill, not the pocket. Because pocket filling can create heartburns for a lot of people also, including me at times. That's not what it is. So this Kurara, the Osprey is giving us that kind of a message. That you should live life in which things are much easy. Okay? Look at this Bhartrihari's beautiful shloka. Possession comes with a cost. It is not there in Israel. I added after I read, I started adding all these. Okay? Bhoge roga bayam, kule chuti bayam, vitta nripalad bayam. I mentioned this vitta nripalad bayam 2 days back. Actually, moment to make a lot of money, you have fear from taxman. Okay? Mane dainya bayam. Kale bale ripubayam, rupe jaraya bayam. Beautiful person's biggest fear is I will get old. When will I get old? Oh, all my beauty will go. Is it not? Rupe jara bayam. Okay? Shastre vadi bayam. These learned people is always under fear because unfollow will find a mistake in what he is saying. They will be very careful when they talk and they look around and say, who are there accordingly will. So Shastre vadi bayam. Okay? Gune kalabayam. When, in fact, you look at here, Kule Chutibayam. This is the so-called honor killing. You think you are this. If something happens, it affects you, you are very fearful. All the honor killing belongs to that. Because you are in such an kula. Chuti means falling. Kule Chutibayam. Vittaha and Ripalad Bayam. Okay? Shastre Vadibayam, Gure Kalabayam. Kahe. There is a fear in this body. When is Yama going to come? Kritantad Bayam. For the body, there is a fear when I will die. This fellow is going to come and take me away. Okay? Because all these are, we think all these are our possessions. Sarve vastu bhayanvitam bhuvi. In this world, you start attaching yourself to anything, it will only generate fear. Sarve vastu bhayanvitam bhuvi nranam vairagyameva abhayam. The only source of abhaya is take your hand a little bit, feel a little free. Take your hand a little bit. Don't attach too much and then all that. Don't be so proud of your family and your it'll all create only a problem for you. If somebody will come and say something, you will get upset for no reason. If somebody says something, Swami Dayananda says so beautifully, you have to read. There is a book of Swami Dayananda Saraswati. All his books are great. There's a book called Value of Values. Okay? There are 4 shlokas in Bhagavad Gita. Swamiji lectured those 4 shlokas. Okay? 7th shloka to 11th shloka in chapter 13. Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga. Amanitvam Adambitvam Ahimsa Kshanti Rajavam Arjavam Acharyopasanam Stairyam Atmavinigraha. Like that, there are 20 values. There are 20 things which Krishna talks about. Swamiji gave a beautiful lecture on that. And after several years, a few years after his lecture, they brought a book out of it. That's a reading material for my MBA course. I give it in IIM Bangalore. They should read it. Value of Values. That book may be here. Please go and look at it in the break. Beautiful book. Okay? There he talks about value. He talks about how you should develop a very high, this beautiful book. You will be very influenced by that book. Value of Values. So, Vairagyameva Abhayam. The rest are all, there is some fear or the other. That is what Osprey is telling us. I think we should stop here. It's time already 5 minutes have exceeded. 3 minutes, 10:33. We'll meet again at 11. We'll stop here now. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om